Okay, YouTube. We should be live on Twitch. We should be live on Twitter. Thank everybody for tapping in. Again, it's your boy G along with Alec. Another great episode of 6300 brought to you by LA Sports Support. Continue to show love on all platforms. Make sure you subscribe to the show on YouTube. A lot of good things coming there. And as you see, we're here late today because we were reacting to Lakers Warriors. That game is wrapped up. Double OT war just went down between Steph and those Warriors coming back and getting themselves back together following Draymond's return and things, and the Lakers continuing to try to build upon a roller coaster of the season so far. And they went to overtime, double OT in this last game that you guys just saw. Wrapped up 145-144. Alec, what were your first thoughts on what you just saw?
Yeah, double overtime thriller. I thought for sure Braun was gonna miss one of those free throws. Like I told my dad, I was like, I just want one. Like I just want him to make one because I don't trust him to make both. But he sunk the clutch free throws. I think he was 100% from the line in the game, which that's a rarity for Braun too. So,
right.
But man, that game was like you said, a war. I guess you could say because it felt like it was never gonna end. No team could kind of just put their foot on the other team's neck. It was like Klay Thompson was shooting 4-15 from three, and then of course he makes the clutch one in the end to sit into OT.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, man, like who is gonna just figure out a way to just finish this one off? But Lakers thankfully got the job done.
Got the job done. To your point, right before the free throws, we saw that Steph had that wide open three that put them ahead for a moment. Yeah. And now that had us nervous. I was like, bro, you can't just let Steph open. Right. I know there's been a couple of times where he has come up short in recent games. Plus, been talking online about his misfortune and clutch moments recently. But Steph is still Steph. When you leave him that open, he's gonna knock it down. So he got open after that screen and took a second and caught his breath. Like, I finally got an open shot late in the game like this. All right, cool. Knocked it down easy. But LeBron, 5 seconds left. It's kind of like we're about to talk about NFL stuff later on. Does that mean, 1 minute left on the clock and you left Aaron Rodgers too much time? 5 seconds left on the clock. You left LeBron. It's too much time for him too. He was able to get down and get a basket and got fouled, which was led to the victory. So very impressive things there. Just in what we just saw at the end of the game. But beyond that, and what else we saw in the game, I want to continue to give praise to Anthony Davis. Absolutely. This is still somewhere. This is the AD we've been waiting for. He continues to show up and show out. And in this game, I also want to say this because we've seen in the past, AD has gotten hurt in the past, and he's out, and that's kind of the end, not the end of the season, but in dramatic terms, it's the end of our season with how things have gone with his injury woes. But this time he had an injury that seemed like it was going to be serious. All the Twitter fingers got active, and oh no, here we go. Like the season's over. What are we going to do? Even you put in the chat, like, okay, what do the Lakers do if he's hurt for a long time? Right. He's going to come back in the fourth quarter, I believe it was, and play the rest of the way and looked like the guy that was a big factor that we wanted to be, of course, in how we were able to get this victory in the end. So just your thoughts on AD and his recovery this season.
Yeah, all praise to the Most High God that he was able to come back.
I was about to tweet, Lord carry him now. He was able to come back. Thank God.
A classic. That's funny you mentioned that too, because my dad was like, did AD just pull a Paul Pierce? Like he just had to go to the bathroom. No, it wasn't the same. It looked like he really tweaked his leg or whatever. But I was glad to see him come back to the floor because I thought he was going to be done for the game. So I was glad to see him come back to the floor. And he was probably the most important just because of what he brings on both sides of the floor. The defensive impact, even if he wasn't blocking shots, he was challenging shots and making it harder for guys to finish at the rim. And it just changes the whole complexion of the game when you have a disruptor like that on the defensive side. And then he's been consistent effort-wise on both ends for all season. And I think they pointed out today that he's played like 44 of the 46 games. Like this is the most consistently he's played in years. So it's great to see. If he stays on that track, he'll be eligible for these regular season awards, which would be great too, because he should be in defensive player of the year conversations. And I mean, if they had a better record, he could be in MVP conversations the way he's been playing individually, but it doesn't look like they'll be finishing top four. This was kind of a battle of the mid in a sense, even though we got some superstars in the matchup, but the way these teams have been playing of late, it was kind of a battle of the mid here.
Yeah, and that's a playing matchup right there for us.
Exactly. Someone tweeted that this Lakers Warriors playing at the end of the season is going to move mountains. But yeah, AD, all credit to AD. He's been really, really consistent this year. There's really not much you can criticize him for this season.
Yeah, still salute to him. Want to continue to give him his praise. Like I said before, we've been loud with our criticism and our hate for him and things in the past. We've been injured and out and dealing with his woes and things. This year, he's definitely gotten right, and is the guy that we've been waiting to pass the keys to. And it looks like he really can do that. I also will say, while we do want to pass him the keys, LeBron himself is still that guy. LeBron had 30, 20, and 10. Like, as much as we keep on saying we want AD to take over and pass him the keys and things, LeBron still shows that while he may not while we still do want to pass AD the keys, that while the keys are still in LeBron's hands, he can carry us to great extents and have another great performance tonight. And I know we've had our jokes about Bron and things in the past, but I do want to give him his praise, especially on nights like this where he showed out, as you mentioned at the top of the show, how he iced the game at the very end as well. So, yeah, just salute to him and salute to this squad. Those are our top two guys. I want to praise them. And, yeah, definitely, you want anything else you want to say about LeBron?
Yeah, I mean, 36, 20, and 12. Sensational night there. I was glad with that last possession, too, that he put his head down and got to the rim, because occasionally he'll choose the fadeaway, like choose the mid-range in that.
Got to the rim. He didn't pass. Oh, exactly. Thank God.
Yeah, like, thank you, Ron. And I was begging for the last, 3 possessions before that when, D'Lo turned the ball over 3 straight times. I was like, please get the ball in LeBron's hands. Like, let him take us home. He was playing so well.
Yeah.
And D'Lo was playing great before then, too. I'm not just shitting on D'Lo. Like, he was scoring well, and he made up for it. He made up for those 3 terrible turnovers with transition 3. And that was huge for us to get us back in the game at that point too. So credit to those guys offensively. Reeves was great. Vando was great on the defensive side. Everybody chipped in here when we needed them to. So good team win there.
Definitely good stuff. I wanted to point out, because you talked about some of the key plays he made. Well, there was some woes at the end that were saved by LeBron. Prior to that, D'Lo did have a good game, and didn't want to acknowledge that again. He really has been cooking at least all of January as the trade rumors have ramped up and all of that.
Trade deadline D'Lo.
D'Lo is a top 5 player in the league right now. So all kinds of stuff like that. But somewhat serious, I guess. He definitely had him doing his thing and deserves acknowledgement. Has his recent play saved him from a trade? You still think, even from what you continue to see, that we need to go get someone else to replace him right now?
Yeah, I mean, he's got that trade value at an all-time high right now. The way he's playing, trade deadline.
We can't get a Trae Young deal in with. He's been like this.
He's been really, really good, especially the shot making. And part of it too is just more opportunity. Like we know he has this in him offensively when he can get it going and get in a rhythm. And he was playing in a bench role, and he got inserted in the starting lineup and has taken off from there. Yep. He's had it in him, and he's showing us and showing teams why he has been an all-star in past seasons. But yeah, I think it's still trade time. I think Doris mentioned it earlier in this game, where him and Reeves, because of what they bring you offensively, like, you need them on the floor and you need them to compete. And that's what they did defensively in this game. They were competing. While they're not the best perimeter defenders, they were at least putting forth the effort to make guys have to work for their buckets. So that's all you can ask for them, because you want the offense, and the defense isn't quite as strong. But come playoff time, matchup wise, it's hard to quote unquote hide those guys or get away with playing an offensive specialist. Like, you need guys that aren't gonna give up the slack on the defensive side. So I think he still probably has to get moved, but credit to him for playing really good ball this past
month. Yeah, definitely a hard thing to deal with right now, especially seeing how well he's playing. We don't want to get caught too much into the moment as well as he looks, because the goal still is the playoffs. And we've seen in the playoffs that going up against other squads with premier guards, that he can get targeted a little bit and become somewhat of a liability at times on the court, which we don't need in those situations where we need guys beyond LeBron and AD to really step up. So, yeah, as well as it is, as much as I've been a fan myself, I snuck in on the tag. He's not leaving. I'd love for him to stay here. But the reality is we can't get you caught into right now, and still think looking forward that bringing in somebody that can be a little bit more helpful on defense, so we don't have to go to double OT, dealing with these guys shooting threes on us. While that wasn't the main thing, I don't want to put the length of the game onto him, but just for an example of what we just saw, having someone that can help alleviate some of the pressure. Because we even saw some of a throwback game from Clay and guys like that who look decent in moments a little bit. Maybe not throwback game, but he played well. We saw Steph and Clay kind of do their thing at times, and having a guard that can somewhat slow that down more than what we've seen from our guys right now definitely would be helpful. So we'll see what moves are made. We got I think just about a week at this point away from the deadline. I think it's the 5th if I remember that correctly. So just about a week away.
Yeah.
And we'll see what is going on. If we do keep D'Lo, I will be happy as a supporter of his, but I would definitely still want to see him step up his play and prove why he's staying around as we have a push to make. Again, we keep our eyes onto that. Before I get into the standings and all of that, any of the players you want to highlight that you saw in this game, or if you go on to the weekly breakdown this last week, you want to highlight it all?
With this Lakers squad?
Yeah.
Yeah. As I mentioned briefly, Jared Vanderbilt, I think he was huge defensively. Just as you mentioned, like us not having those guards on the perimeter that can keep up with them. Having Vando in there who can match up with some of the elite guards and at least make it harder. Steph still got 40 points, but that's with 2 overtimes as well. So like he was making him work for his buckets, and that's all you can really ask for on the greatest shooter of all time. But I think fans have been clamoring for more minutes for him and less for Taurean Prince, and I think we've seen it pay dividends when we've gotten it. Taurean Prince, while he's a much better 3-point shooter than Vanderbilt, when he's not hitting the 3, he's not providing a whole lot else other than his defense. So if we can have Vando slotted in there with Braun and AD and D'Lo out there, I think it's worked out in our favor with him getting more minutes as he's gotten healthier this year. So I wanted to highlight him. And that was pretty much it, because it was a pretty short rotation, at least in this game, which I think is a plus too, with Ham figuring out the mix of guys that he wants to play together. Right.
I'll say with that, and kind of to a Taurean note, there as Laker fans do whenever we sign somebody, we see who a player is and we know who the player is. But once he puts on the purple and gold, we're like, okay, maybe he actually could elevate a little bit more than what we know him to be. And we had higher hopes for Taurean and thought he'd be somewhat more of even close to a Jared Vanderbilt type of player in this year. And he hasn't quite been that. He kind of has been what we have known him to be, respectfully, and it is what it is. Same with guys like Cam Reddish and guys who I don't really think I saw in this game. He's talking about short.
He's hurt. He's out a couple weeks.
My apologies. But just in regards to guys we have been wanting to really see step up, even when he was playing, Cam had a moment, and then he kind of came back to reality, and we were trying to still figure out what was best for him. So, hopefully we can get more out of Vando, though, who has shown great flashes at times and did look well tonight. Looking forward to how the team continues to build itself up and maximizing the rotation as Ham has it currently. Go ahead.
Quick question. Like, would you want to see more of Christian Wood? I mean, I feel like this is a question that happens on every team he's on, kind of, because like you see the offensive talent and his ability to rebound, but I know he is kind of a defensive liability at the position too, and I think that's a major reason why he doesn't get as much. But he only played 11 minutes in out of 58, because there was 2 overtimes, and like he can provide you with some bursts at least of offense. So I don't know.
I thought that was interesting. Also, knowing that going up against the Warriors, that we can use our size to our advantage heavily. Having a guy like him down low as they're trying to figure out, as they're getting Draymond back in the fold, how they have young guys down there now. I know Kuminga's starting to find his footing truly now, but other guys like I think it's Trace Jackson Davis, I think who his name is.
On the Warriors.
Yeah, and other guys. Just saying, for just matchup wise, as we're going up against a team that's smaller and we have bigs we can throw at them, it would be nice to see Wood get a little bit more playing time. But it was what it was, and the guys that were out there were able to make do as they did. So yes, I would like to see more Christian Wood going forward. Again, like I just said with Taurean Prince, another guy who we had higher hopes for once we put the purple and gold on, who may not actually have the ceiling that we hoped, but I still think he can be utilized in ways beyond what is being used so far. So trying to get more out of him offensively would be great, as he has shown at times he can be good on that side. And then you can, I don't want to say hide him because he should be able to step up defensively with the size that he has, but being able to put him around other defenders that can help him a little bit, put him next to Evander, put him next to Bron, of course, put him next to AD, put him in those lineups if we can in the spurts that could be useful. And yeah, he could be used rather than just being pushed to the end of the bench there. So yeah, I think there are still ways to expand with this squad, but seeing what rotation we had this tonight able to work and get the victory, I was happy that it was able to do so. So yeah, we'll see. Do you have a thought on that as well?
No, I mean, I just echo that because I feel like, especially like next to AD, that while he has the defensive deficiencies, I think you can kind of hide, like you said, in a sense, next to AD with AD's size. But yeah, I feel like he could maybe provide us with in a game like this where we have the size advantage, could provide us with another advantage there on the offensive end. But I mean, like I said, the short rotation worked out in this game, so I wasn't like not really complaining. I just have found it interesting, like his usage. I guess in his last couple of teams, because it felt like with Dallas that he could be a starter there as well. But clearly, there's something there that the coaches feel like maybe he's not providing as much as we as fans like see that he potentially could be. So
yeah, so we'll see what they figure out. But the RPs that can be utilized, we'll see as this thing goes along. So then we keep our eyes on that. Taking a step beyond this Warriors game, which was great, but going beyond it with this Lakers squad, looking at the standings right now, we still are sitting at the 10 seed, 23-23, back to 500. Yeah, yet again, I believe after this game, which I believe is updated too.
I think it'll be 24 now that they won this one.
23, so just over 500. Can you see us climb more in the West, or you think we're going to be hovering around the play-in range all season long?
I guess like with where we're at now, like 4 games out of the 6. Because yeah, I mean, I think it'll be somewhere between the 6 and 10 range, just the way they're playing right now. Like I don't see if a trade is made, then I could see maybe a jump, kind of like they had last season. I mean, people have mirrored this season's record to last season's record with Russell Westbrook, and it's been like identical, which is kind of funny to see, since he was the vampire that they called him in the locker room, and they're getting the same result without him. But yeah, I mean, I think if they make a trade, you can potentially see a kind of a bounce in their step where maybe they make a run and bounce into kind of middle of the pack, like 4 or 5 range. But it's going to be hard to catch those teams if they kind of stay with the same roster. I see more play-in range, as you're saying. Yeah.
And then with that being the case, even though we are in the play-in range, we see that once you get in the playoffs, that once you're in, anything can happen.
Yeah.
So again, looking at these top squads and how these things are lined up right now, do you fear a lot of these teams, or do you think we will lose to a lot of these teams in the playoffs? Or you think we can make another run of this season with how things may play out?
I think these teams, I mean, as they are ahead of the Lakers currently, I think these teams, all of these teams except for maybe the Jazz, are capable of beating the Lakers in a series that are ahead of them. But I think the teams that actually would beat them in a series are just the Clippers, the Nuggets, maybe the Suns. But the other series, just partially due to youth or not having been in that playoff position before. Like the Pelicans are still a very young team. The Jazz aren't really like I don't think the Jazz are going to be higher than the Lakers in a little bit.
Yeah.
The Kings kind of have their own issues, which you did a little rant about in this past episode. And then the Timberwolves are youth and just got to prove it to me. I think the Timberwolves could beat the Lakers in a series, but the Thunder, I think the Lakers could still beat. But yeah, I mean, they're all formidable opponents at this point. Like no team is a lock. Like the Lakers sweep them or the Lakers get them out of here in 5 games. Like they would all be competitive series, I think, to an extent.
I don't think it'll be the same fate as we had last year. We were able to take advantage of some of these teams because of our lower seeding. Also, we caught the Grizzlies. We will beat them either way, but
that was a great matchup.
Yeah, the Grizzlies had their interesting end of the season, and we played the Warriors, who we know we can get ahead of, who now are in the picture right now. As you can see, they have the 12th spot. But other squads that are in here, I echo what you said about like the Timberwolves, Clippers, Nuggets being the real threats, and everybody else we may have a chance against. So we'll see where we can continue to climb to, and seeing what we'll get. Things go along. We'll surely be talking about as things go forward. And to that point, as we do each week, about this time next week, where will we be? We see where our next couple of games are. Just played the Warriors tonight. About this time next week, we'll have played the Rockets on Monday, the Hawks on Tuesday, the Celtics on Thursday, and then here again next Saturday, versus the Knicks in New York. We're on our Grammy stretch right now. All away games that you see in this picture. How the next three at least are 1, 2, 3, 4. Our next four go
at Boston too. That's probably another overtime game with Boston, but
maybe.
I do you think the DeJounte Murray trade happens before January 30th?
That would be interesting. It would have to happen
in the next 2 days.
It the next 2 days.
It could happen. I feel like NBA news be dropping on Mondays sometimes. That would be interesting. I mean,
if the trade is on Monday and we lose a guy for a game, does that make us lose the Rockets game, or we still survive that game without DeJounte?
Honestly, like I haven't really been paying attention to the Rockets of late. I feel like they've fallen off pretty hard. Like they're at the 11 or 12 spot right now.
Us, yeah.
They're right behind us, yeah. And they were streaking early in the season. They've got some young talent there. Yeah, 3-7 their last 10. It's a team that the Lakers should beat, but that's never a guarantee with the Lakers currently constructed.
As a full team, yes. But I'm saying in the context of if a trade gets made and now all of a sudden we're down a D-Lo or whatever, do you still think we get the job done? That's what I was trying to say.
If Bron and AD are still there, like I think they should still get the job done. So,
and ironically, like I just said, we put the Hawks right after that, so he could be switching his teams right before the game. So we'll see how that could play out. Definitely be an interesting one. But as we know, things can go. We'll probably win 2 of the 4. It should be all 4.
They're a 500 team, so I would say 2 of 4.
That's how it's gonna go. The 2 I'll pick are the Hawks and the
Knicks are good right now, so the first 2 probably.
Yeah, so we'll see how that plays out. But definitely we tuned into it and excited for things that are gonna be on the way for the Lakers as always going forward. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, to our discussion there, like that was one of my questions. Like, what is this Lakers team's identity? Like, I was watching this game against the Warriors, and I'm like, what is their calling card? Like, what is their go to? It's just like I guess give LeBron the ball in clutch moments, or let D'Lo run a pick and roll in clutch moments, I guess. But this team isn't their hallmark isn't really defense. Like AD kind of is that guy for us, that anchor. I guess they're pretty good in transition, but that's not always what they're trying to get to either. Yeah. I was just watching this team, I'm not sure if they have an identity really, and I think that partially is a Darvin Ham issue too, to the point of a lot of Lakers Twitter that's always calling for Ham's job. I think that's a little bit extreme, but I guess that's what I would be looking for from Ham, that this Laker team can kind of establish an identity, and maybe a trade can help that, and guys slotting into more defined roles can help that. But that was kind of my question.
I definitely understand it. I guess someone to define it right now is it's the LeBron show still, and whenever anybody wants to step up alongside him, then they'll surely join into the party. But we still rely on Bron to be the main guy for the squad, and that can't be our full identity. Though LeBron can be that guy, I've seen the playoffs and things in the past that we need other guys to have more cemented roles to really be able to fall back on that can carry us when need be. So I don't have a clear answer to that either. It is, like I said, a LeBron show for the moment, and hopefully we can get more identity beyond him as things go along. As I pointed out with AD, though, AD has stepped up all season long. He's been playing great. But again, it still feels like it's if you want to add to what I said, it's LeBron, AD duo, and everybody else is kind of just feeding them and doing their thing and just doing enough to keep us afloat rather than having cemented roles that they can rely on. So yeah, we'll see if a trade clears that up, or we'll see if as things continue to go along, Ham can get his hands out of his pockets, as fans joke about, and can get these guys some more clear roles as things go along. But definitely a good point that we'll keep tracking as the season plays out. So yeah, good stuff on that part. We'll continue to follow them all season long as we do here on LA Sports Report. Make sure you guys are following the platform there. We appreciate all the love that's being shown, and we'll continue to just bring you great LA content as things go along. Alongside that, we talked about the Lakers for plenty of time now. Moving to the other side of crypto, the Lakers have played and survived this Warriors game, but the Clippers played the Celtics, which should have been just as good of a matchup, but they blew out the Celtics and had a great victory earlier today. I believe it was 116-96 was the final score, and most of the game was farther apart than that. What are your thoughts on the Clippers right now and how well they continue to play?
Yeah, all-star Derek White couldn't hold the Clippers tonight, unfortunately. Yeah,
this all-star looks like
this was the game where when we talked about the outlook for the Clippers' next upcoming games, I was like concerned about this because this was coming off a back-to-back for the Clippers in Boston, who was like the best team in the league clearly. So I was concerned about it, but obviously they wanted their get back from that December 23rd game where the Celtics came in on their home floor and beat them by 30. So they returned the favor. And this Clippers team looks sensational right now, man. Like they've just been clicking on all cylinders. Harden, the system, it's working clearly. He's in a rhythm. Kawhi is reminding people how good Kawhi Leonard is. Paul George been great. Russ been great the last few games too. And just very efficient in limited minutes as well. Yeah, man, this team is just, and they're having fun. It seems like they really enjoy playing with each other. So it's been awesome to see if you're a Clipper fan, a LA sports fan. And of course, it's always great to see the Celtics lose. So that's cherry on top.
I always appreciate that. Love seeing Derek White lose like that. So we'll continue to root for the Clippers in matchups like that going forward. But yeah, just echoing what you said, just great to see Clippers playing well, glad everybody's healthy and playing really elite basketball at the moment. Helped the teams all season long. As you've seen the question down on the screen, this Celtics squad, though we blew them out this time against the East when they play, showed that they're a premier squad, and this was supposed to be a premier matchup as we pointed out. Can the Celtics and Clippers be a finals preview that we just saw, or you think somebody's going to disrupt that at some point this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very, very real chance, just with how dominant their Celtics defense has been for much of the season, and they have a elite starting five. There's not like a crazy amount of depth after it, but I mean, they have enough of a rotation there, and that starting five when healthy. Of course, Porzingis was out too, so that plays a factor in why they got beat too. But when they are fully healthy, they're a really, really dominant force to be reckoned with. They're just going to have concerns, I guess, like Tatum was kind of off today with stepping up in the big games and just finishing the job. I do think it might be helpful that Doc Rivers is going to be the head coach of the Bucks now in terms of those matchups, as we discussed. Because I think those are the two best teams in the East when it comes down to it in the playoffs. So it's really between them two, I think, to make it to the finals. And then on the Western Conference side, I think the Clippers are the best team in the conference. Obviously, the Thunder are sitting at 1 right now, and the T-Wolves sitting at 2. Those teams have been great. But I think the Clippers are deeper definitely deeper than the T-Wolves. And I think the Thunder are very deep as well. They're just younger. And so I'll give the edge to the Clippers there. But yeah, I think this Clippers team, they're 22-4 in their last 26. They're kind of still quietly the hottest team in the league. Like they haven't really been, I think because they started 0-6 once Harden got there, like they kind of been overlooked a little bit, but it's getting harder and harder to overlook them the way they've been playing right now. So yeah, it's a very real possibility that it could be a finals matchup.
Definitely could be a finals matchup. Definitely, at least somewhat rooting for. I know we kind of favor our Lakers squad as well, but seeing either of these squads could get there and going up against the Celtics will be great, and beating the Celtics would be the icing on top as well. So, yeah, definitely think it is possible. Again, echo what you said about this team having great depth along all fronts and be able to maintain that going up against all the premier squads in the West as well. And yeah, I think what it comes down to, one, as we always know with the Clippers, is health. And then beyond that, the guy that we brought in to carry us, and that's beyond PG and Kawhi. I think seeing how healthy they are this year, if that's maintained, they'll carry us for a very long portion. But I also want to see James Harden, who we brought in, make his impact in the playoffs as well. People have made their jokes for a long time now about James Harden's playoff woes and coming up short at times. We can actually have a good playoff run this year. I think that really can get the job done for the Clippers squad, who seems poised to do so. So, yeah, definitely rooting for them. And excited to see how far this squad finally goes. We've been saying it's finally their year. It seems like they finally turn the corner and things are going to finally click. We've had thoughts like that in the past, and they still feel short. So even beyond that, I guess we'll take steps and say, let's make sure we just get to the conference finals first, and then we'll worry about the finals after that. But they do seem like they are ready to make that jump. So we'll be tuned into all of that. And then lastly, I'll just say, as we do with the Lakers, about this time next week, we see what the schedule is. We just played the Celtics today and wrap that up. We next play the Cavaliers on Monday, the Wizards on Wednesday, the Pistons on Friday, and then we'll be here before it, but the Heat on Sunday. For the next three, at least, how you see the Clippers handling their matchups?
Potential 3-0, but definitely 2-1. Like Wizards and Pistons, no shot. Like crazy things happen in the NBA. Some nights, some guys might sit out or whatever. But as you mentioned, Clippers haven't really been sitting out for the most part. Like they've been healthy. They said in the beginning of the season, Ty Lue made it a point to say to PG and Kawhi that they're going to take the regular season for real this time. Like we're not load managing throughout this year. It was a crazy quote to come out that you have to tell your players to take the season for real kind of thing. Right. But it's been nice to see that they haven't been load managing and been playing night in, night out for the most part. But yeah, definitely they should win those two games. Cavaliers have been hot as well in their own right. They've been playing well, but that's a winnable game too. So I'll say 2-1, but it's very possible 3-0.
I'll call it a sweep. I think as good as the Cavaliers are, the Clippers have enough to withstand whatever they throw at them. So they'll definitely, I think they will get the job done versus the Cavs, especially coming out for the Celtics game, which though they did have some guys hurt on the Celtics squad, I think it's a good win just to have, and you can maintain that momentum over as you go to Cleveland from there. So definitely that I think they'll get the job done, and then I think they'll handle the Wizards and Pistons as well, as you pointed out. So gonna be a fun week ahead for them. We tuned into it all. Again, continue to show love on LA Sports Report. We'll be reacting to things as they play out. Also, for those who want to see live reactions at times, we will be on Twitter as well, talking on there, having a good time. And then we check that out on Section 300, which you see in the banner below. So great things there. Excited for all things going on across LA. We'll get back to other things in regards to other sports in regards to LA, in regards to a little bit of Rams and Chargers talk we'll get to in a moment. But while we're talking about the Lakers and Clippers, we'll stay on the NBA things. And madness is continuing in the NBA. Another week of NBA madness. First off, we just saw what just went down with Embiid ducking the smoke in Denver yet again. What are your thoughts on him? Still not playing in Denver. I think he's been missing since, what did I say, 2019? He's been avoiding those matchups. Should that be something that the league tries to step in on, as it seems like he's going out of his way at times to make sure he doesn't show up in these games?
Well, the league kind of has stepped in a way, because he can only miss like 6 more games and he's not going to be eligible for season awards. So it only kind of hurts him. Like it hurts, as we talked about off air, it hurts the fan that like saved up money to go to this game and watch Embiid for the first time or something like that. Like that sucks as a fan, but and I'm sure it sucks for Adam Silver, who's like, God damn, like this is a Sunday showcase or Saturday showcase game. Like, can you not miss the ABC game, please? But yeah, it shocked me. It threw me off. I mean, they said that the trainers noticed something like in warmups, like with his knee, and like that could be legitimate. Like if it was a legitimate thing, okay, I understand like taking care of his body, but just seeing it as a late scratch, it kind of like looked funny, knowing the history of him having missed so many games in Denver.
And he's gonna be back next game, jamming on everybody, jumping no problem, step back threes. It's all right. We get it.
The one thing I will give him is that he did like beat the hell out of Denver last time they played. It was in Philly though, so that's a different story. But he did at least match up with the Nuggets last time, because we want to see the MVP and former MVP match up. Like these are the two best big men in the league. It's just great. It's great for basketball, so it sucks when a guy sits out.
Yep. Yeah, definitely would love to see him show up in these matches. I'm not sure what the history is that's leading him to always miss these games. As Denver folks let him hear it about, they said, "Where's Embiid?" Or having some kind of chant and all of that, making loud and clear that they know that he's been ducking this game for some time now. Maybe waiting for a finals rematch. We'll see about that. But either way, definitely interesting how it plays out. And I think what they're doing in regards to how they are limiting players missing games and how that'll affect the award races should be a big factor. But clearly, guys are still sitting down at times and making decisions that they are. So we'll see how that plays out. Do you think Embiid can still get MVP, or you think that he's going to miss enough games to lose out on the award race there?
Yeah, like I said, I think it's like 6 or 8 that he could miss.
It's like 6 more games. I think you said, yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know that he cares enough about MVP individually because he won it last year. I think he's had a answer about that, like that he's more focused on the playoffs and like winning in the playoffs and winning a title, that kind of thing. So I don't know that he plays the 65. Honestly, like there's incentives there clearly for the awards and all NBA and all that kind of thing. So I think he would want to, but it's probably not the ultimate goal. So it might come right up against it. I don't know if he does cross that 65.
I think they said he might not be being in big races that much anymore to begin with. But a guy, for example, like Kyrie Irving, I think already missed enough games. I think if I saw that right somewhere to already be eliminated from all these races. So I think he already figured that because of agendas in place and all of that he wasn't going to be in these races to begin with. So I'm just taking my time and play the game I want to play. And he had a good game last game. I think he had his own 40 ball recently. But he's also sat enough to no longer be eligible for these awards. So it definitely does play its part for those that do care for it, and for others they'll just let those opportunities pass by and still go out and play as they desire. So keep an eye on that as things go along. And it's the last thing I'll say. Do you have him as the top guy in the MVP race right now, or do you view other guys ahead of him at this point, as he has had a good week since we last talked about it?
He would. I mean, if he played the 65 and was eligible, he would be the MVP. I mean, he's been the best player in basketball to me. Yep. I think him, Shea is right there. Jokic in the conversation as well. Tatum probably would have to be in the conversation, just leading Boston. But that's pretty much it.
Tatum have more of a push right now.
You said surprised?
I said why do you think?
Tatum why doesn't he? Probably because the team is pretty deep. Like I said, like that starting 5 is really good. So like having Jalen, Porzingis, Drew, White, like having who people believe has 5 All-Stars essentially in the starting lineup, that kind of hurts your like MVP case a little bit. So I guess that's the drawback of having Derek White All-Star in your lineup, is you might not get the MVP consideration. But I think that's all it is. I mean, because he is putting up solid numbers, like that would be enough to earn the award. But then you also just have Embiid, who's I think objectively playing better, Shea, who's objectively playing better as well too, and they each kind of have those like signature games at least that they've had early in this year. So
we had to talk about Face of the League recently with Matt. I think that was a couple of days ago, and the only team that came up, we talked about Shea and we talked about Ant. We already have Jason Tatum and used one before or leading into the season. We thought he would be a guy that would take control of that. So we'll see how that goes as things go. The season plays out, but definitely an interesting thing. And with Embiid potentially falling out because of games like this that he sits out, it's going to be race very interesting as things play along. So interesting things on that front. Madness continuing on that regard. On another side of the NBA, I just want to point out again, more guys keep putting up baskets. Luka put up 73 the other day, passing what Embiid, who we just talked about, put up, and what Cat put up the other day. Also,
and Devin Booker too. Yeah,
Devin Booker as well. Devin Booker lost, so same as Cat. So
same as Cat.
I can get a little asterisk, but also use this picture for a reason as well. I think PJ Washington had like 43 today as well.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, everybody's scoring right now. It's scoring overload. Should the NBA be trying to even the playing field and want to get defenses, want to help the defenses as things go along, or should they just continue to promote basketball as it is?
I said, man, what happened to the game I love, man? what happened to the 105 to 99 scores, man? It's been, I mean, it's always it's exciting, I guess you could say, to have more of an offensive game, more of an up and down, more of the 3-point shot. It's more appealing for the casual fan as well too, to see more offense. Same thing in football. Like a lot of these leagues are moving towards wanting more offense. Like when they juice the balls in baseball too, want to see more home runs. It's a common thread across sports, but when you got guys putting up 70 multiple guys in the same week, it's like, man, like what's going on here? Like, can we please allow like a little bit of hand checking or something to kind of, like, as you said, even the playing field? Like we talked about, like it was so impressive that Kobe had the 81 in that era because the average scores were like in the low hundreds. At most.
We just talked about the Lakers going to OT tonight in that 126-124 game. I think the Lakers went to OT. And one of Kobe's games where he scored 60. I think the final score was like 104 to 100. Yeah, 65 with the points. So it's like, when it's like that, it definitely stands out a little bit more. So I hear what you're saying.
For sure, yeah. And then, I mean, as you said, there's an asterisk next to the guys that score 60 but still lose. Like there's something wrong with that picture. But yeah, man, it's like, I think as I put on the note, like 60 is the new 40. Like you got guys dropping 60 casually. I mean, it's a credit to how skilled and talented these guys are too, as well, offensively, and how the game has evolved. Where you got big men like Embiid that can have guard skills and can put up buckets and play like a guard. But man, I would love to see a little bit more defense, and that's why I love the playoffs too, because refs kind of swallow their whistles a little bit and let guys play more with more physicality. And that's why it's so hard for some guys to adjust in the playoffs, because it's a little more physical. But I would love to see it.
That was also going to be my rebuttal. Excuse me. Just in that, yes, the regular season we see guys go crazy all game long, and all season long we have guys put up to 70+ points and whatever. But when the playoffs come around, the game changes. It's a whole not different game, but it slows down, and guys have to adjust and find their spots. And it's somewhat more of the game we want to see. So allow the guys to do this right now because it'll make headlines. It'll be the talk of the town for the weekend and things. And then we can see the real basketball once the playoff comes around. And that could be for the real hoop heads that want to see basketball played the right way and however you want to describe it. So because there's such a balance in that regard in the regular season, while it's going to end up leading to some records being broken at some point soon and all that kind of stuff, I think we let guys rock out during the regular season and use the record being broken to help promote the league, as this clearly they want to keep building this thing up. There's talks about new TV deals and stuff. I think, for example, WWE just signed with Netflix, and if they just signed a $2 billion deal, I don't know if it actually was $2 billion, but if they sign for that with Netflix, I'm sure they can go to Amazon or whatever and get triple the cost or whatever the case may be. So as they are positioning themselves, go ahead and let this be as entertaining as it can with offense in the regular season. So yeah, I'm cool with it.
I will say too, so salute to Luka for that 73, but chill out a little bit. You're a little close to that 81. Yeah, I ain't trying to see a white man break Kobe's record, man. Like, I don't know if we're ready for that, man. We're not ready for those discussions, those narratives to come out. So,
yeah.
Chill out a little bit, Luka.
You said you got to see PJ Washington do it?
I don't know if he can even get close, to be honest.
He got half the other day.
Yeah, exactly. And it took all his might to get that half. So, yeah. But, relax, Luka. We know you're nice.
So yeah, a lot of good stuff going on across the NBA. I guess the last thing I'll say is, do you think it actually will be broken soon, or you think guys are going to keep pushing to 70, 75, and then that'll be the limit that we get?
I think a guy like Luka can, honestly. Really, really dynamic player. He's still so young and incredibly gifted scorer at all three levels. It's got to be guys like that, guys like him, guys like Devin Booker. Clearly, like Embiid is one of those. But I think it's still going to be tough to break that 81, as we've seen. Right. Like, we got another guy hit 70, 73, but still hadn't touched the 80 yet. So
yeah, it's definitely going to be tough. Also, a thought that I had, I don't know if the whole league will have it, but amongst the top guys, they do seem to have a reverence for Kobe. Yeah. It might be a thing where a guy gets to 80 points and it's like, you know what, I'm going to sit down. And they might give the respect.
Nah. If you had 80, I think you still got it.
if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong.
Yeah,
but it's with how heralded Kobe is and how people look at records like that. There might be if someone gets close to it and there's all the chatter in the game is going to break 81. Is he break 81? Somebody who knows might say nah. We'll see. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that could be a thought that comes to mind, and we'll see. It appears that maybe on the way soon that it will play out.
I feel like that record is so hard to beat. Like, it's so hard to get that hot to where you scored that many points. And like, if you're at that point, like, you're probably just gonna gun to see how much I can get, kind of thing. So yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Then we'll see how it plays out. Like I said, it seems like it's gonna be broken sometime soon. The way the guys are scoring, and we'll see what the guys decide to do as they're on the court. So keep eyes on that as things go along. Anything else NBA wise you wanted to talk about, or is that it for you right now?
I think that's it. The major things, yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So going to the other side, going to the NFL a little bit, there wasn't a plan to talk about a whole lot of things NFL-wise, but as the Lakers-Warriors game was going on, some news broke in regards to the Rams and the Chargers. The Rams QB coach, or the Rams pass game coordinator, Zach Robinson, is now the new OC at Atlanta, and will be taking over there. There were rumors that he'd be doing so once Raheem Morris got hired by the Falcons, as they had ties together with the Rams when they both were here, and he now is going to be following to ATL to be the new OC. So salute to him. Also on the flip side, going to the Chargers, Kellen Moore, who was a guy that we had wanted to kind of hold on to, is now going to be going to Philly. They originally had tried to hold on to him and blocked a few teams from interviewing him early on in the process, but once Harbaugh came in, they decided they were going to start looking for other candidates for their OC, and that he was free to go talk to other teams, and he quickly lands in Philly, as Ian Rappaport noted there. So salute to both of them. My question to you is, with Kellen Moore in Philly and Zach Robinson in ATL, who will be more impactful for their new team? You think we're going to see a jump again from Jalen Hurts, or you think that Atlanta will finally get something figured out with Desmond Ridder or Jalen Hurts potentially as their QB?
Or did you mean Justin Fields?
Justin Fields, excuse me. Hurts in Philly.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you. Most likely, I would say Atlanta, honestly, just because, like, I feel like there are some limitations there with Jalen Hurts that we saw this season. Maybe it was more just with his physical ailments. Like, maybe it was lingering injury that he was kind of playing through, and we aren't privy to. But he seemed to take kind of a regression from his previous season, where he was an MVP caliber QB. The turnovers, a lot of them did not look good. Nope. Didn't quite look as explosive either, which I think could lead to maybe he was playing through some stuff. Mm-hmm. But it was like, if it wasn't the tush push, like it wasn't super effective on the offensive side. So to that point, Kellen Moore obviously can make a positive impact. He's a great OC, mm-hmm. And I think it will be a good thing, a plus to have him in there as the OC. But I think he being Jalen Hurts, really misses Shane Steichen there as his QB coach. So maybe if they can bring in a guy at the QB coach position that can kind of help Jalen refine that form that he had in 2022, I guess it was. That could lead to a better season from him. But I think in Atlanta, they sorely are missing some offensive vision and development there, mm-hmm. especially in the passing game. And obviously you're limited by having Desmond Ridder, who's not a great passer. So bringing in a Justin Fields or someone else at QB would also help. But I think that could be the bigger impact, just because of the Falcons having been kind of in the gutter in comparison to where the Eagles are. Mm-hmm. The Eagles were still a 10-11 win team. While the Falcons were not a playoff team. So I think they can have the bigger jump with this new regime going forward.
I agree with that. Also, as you see pictured here, just that amount of talent that they have there. I know Philly has talent, of course, themselves, but if Zach was just to go in and use the talent that's been allotted to him, like, hey, you have pieces all over the field here. Bijan is a star in the making. Kyle Pitts should be a star in the making. Drake London is a very respectable receiver on the outside, and they'll just continue to find pieces that could go around them as they figure out what's going to be going on in the backfield with their QB situation. So, yeah, if he comes in and says, hey, we're going to feed these guys the ball, we're going to let them be out in space and do what they want to do as they can. We saw at least somewhat, he was somewhat the passing game coordinator, seeing what he was able to do with Matt Stafford here in LA and how he was able to use, for example, when Puka was out, when Cooper Kupp was out, was able to utilize Puka early on the season before we even knew who Puka was, and made him work. And we found moments where a guy like a Tutu Atwell stepped up, or Demarcus Robinson stepped up out of nowhere, and things of that nature. If he's able to show that he can continue to find hidden gems or make something where nothing is, or just take advantage of the talent that truly is there. Yeah, I think it could be finally be a special thing in Atlanta again. So I'll lean to him in this question. But I do still respect Kellen Moore. There are some folks that are very happy to see him gone, and folks were frustrated because of the offense and how it was last season. But I think there was a large part of that we have to acknowledge was because of the talent on the field itself. We had injuries all season long. We had guys that weren't living up to their potential, to be blunt, and that is what it is. But the play calling itself, there are a couple of games where we had issues, of course, as we had in the past, but it seemed like the play calling was there. The players just weren't showing up to execute as need be. And maybe it's just a similar situation. That's a tough bounce around in regards to Kellen Moore, from Dak, and when he had his turnover injury problems a couple of years ago. You have the Chargers, as they just had their health concerns their whole tenure. Now you're going to Jalen Hurts, who had turnover problems last year. And if you come into this situation and he has more of the same, it's going to be tough to continue to elevate him in people's eyes as they have. But I think he can alleviate some of the pressure that Jalen Hurts had last year and continue to open up the offense as it should be with the pieces that are there, with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith taking another step this next year. So he'll work in both situations, but in regards to more impactful, like I said to begin, I do think Robinson will make it happen there. So go ahead.
I will say I was a little surprised that Kellen Moore was leaving after just one season with the Chargers. Probably like the money talked being a part of it, but also it seems like if he's out as the OC right after Harbaugh came in, that Harbaugh is probably bringing in one of his guys that he likes as offensive coordinator. And I'm fine with that because the Chargers need a culture change. They need a regime change in a sense as well too. So from the top down, like it's starting with new GM and I believe they still need to hire the GM. They're still interviewing for that position, correct?
Yeah, I might miss that.
Yeah. So if it's got to be a whole new regime, I'm fine with that. I was just a little bit caught off guard by hearing the news that Kellen Moore.
Yeah, if he was supposed to time and go, they kind of popped out of nowhere. We watched the Laker game and all of that, and all of a sudden, breaking news: Kellen Moore is gone. So caught about surprise, but there must be a plan in place. And as you said, the Harbaugh just have some great connections across the league that he can take advantage of and make something happen. Top of the list, as I noted before, Rick Roman seems to be a guy that folks are favoring. I know I've had my things to say as a scarred Ravens fan and seeing what he did in Baltimore, but if he is the way that they go, it can work. It would just be a new situation for him, going from having the running quarterbacks he's had in the past with the Niners when he was there, with Harbaugh, going to Lamar. And
the Harbaugh brothers keeping Greg Roman paid? That's what you're saying?
I guess so. That's where they were going. Then so be it. And he can't make this offense go. I would definitely have to get some more. If we talk about revamping the running game, I'll have to get some more backs back there that can really make things happen. So we'll see how that happens with the draft and all of that. So interesting choice. But also, I've seen some names floated around. David Shaw, who was there with Harbaugh in Stanford and was there with Andrew Luck, as you saw, took over Harbaugh once he left and was the head coach there for a long while and did a great job. He was in the head coaching carousel this offseason. Things were really floated around, and the Chargers ended up going with Harbaugh, obviously, but his name's still circulating as he did impress folks during interviews and things. So if Harbaugh says, "Hey, come join me on the NFL side of things," can't remember the last time that David Shaw was in the NFL. My apologies on that, but I do know he was a head coach in college. So if he comes to LA as the OC, I think they can work. He was there with Andrew Luck and saw what a great passer he was. If he can tap into what Justin Herbert has and really elevate him as a passer, I think that'd be great as well. And then lastly, of note, there were a couple other guys that are floating around, a Lions coordinator as well, and a couple other guys in the playoffs. But the two that stood out to me were David Shaw, and then I believe his name was Pip Hamilton. My apologies if I get that wrong. He was for the Texans last couple of years ago with Davis Mills before C.J. Stroud got there. But there was a moment at least where we saw Davis Mills and respected him at least. We didn't necessarily weren't saying he's a top QB like C.J. Stroud at all.
People thought he was a franchise guy. Yeah.
Was drafted low and showed some decency as the Texans were in full rebuild mode, and that was because of what Coach Tony Hamilton did there, and he is a respected coach. He was with the XFL last and did a good job with the defenders. So coming back to the NFL, I think he definitely could be very serviceable for our squad, and being somewhat of a passing guru, as I saw some folks that know him to be. Again, open up the pass game, I think is a big thing with Justin Herbert as our main focus. I think could work out. So we'll see where they go. But again, I'll just ask you. You don't necessarily have to say names, but what direction would you want to see the Chargers go as they aim for the next OC? You want to go kind of run heavy or focus on the pass game?
In terms of the OC, probably focusing on the pass game, but bringing in, as we've talked about, bringing in a couple guys at the running back position, because that is a position that's been a sore spot for the team. So still need to bring in a 3-down guy, a change of pace guy, because Eckler and Joshua Kelly don't seem to be that. But I think, yeah, with the talent that you have in Justin Herbert, I assume they're going to be trying to target some more skill position players, some more receivers. I think you talked about Brock Bowers in one of the last episodes. But with going for more pass catchers and having a potential top 5 QB in the league with this new regime, I think I would want to go lean into the pass and lean into utilizing this elite QB in Justin Herbert. So
yeah, definitely heavily in the passing area right now. Guys are swinging all over the place, and Justin Herbert seemed like he got it. Definitely can do the same. So I want to continue to maximize his potential. We've been saying for a long while now, and let him throw the ball as much as he can. So yeah, we'll see what the Chargers do to best support him in that, and we'll continue to follow that along all off season. So another thing that'll be on LA Sports Report for you guys. You can check that out. Follow us, show love to the page, and we'll be back with more Chargers content as more news breaks throughout the offseason there. So good stuff on that front. The last thing I'll say, in somewhat of a serious note, we're here on Saturday night. We're here on conference camp on NFL playoff eve of the big matchups and all of that. Let's go ahead and do one more rundown of the game. We already talked about it a few times, but any final thoughts on what you're about to see in the conference championships tomorrow morning?
Yeah, no, I don't think I'm gonna switch up. I still think it's gonna be Ravens and Niners.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping for some really great games. I think they will be. I think both have potential to maybe get one-sided. Like if the Ravens really show their dominance, or if the Niners really show their dominance, I don't see either of the Chiefs or Lions blowing out either team. I think if they win, it's gonna be very close. But yeah, I'm looking for some real battles, some 3-point games, especially in that Ravens Chiefs game. I think that's going to be the one that feeds families for sure.
Yep. We've 2 to 3-point games. As you've seen all playoffs long, kicking matters. I think Justin Tucker shows his worth. I think I've said that before during our preview. I think Justin Tucker shows his worth yet again, and will help us ice that game versus the Chiefs there. So yeah, rolling with the Ravens as well, rolling with the Niners still on the other side. I would love to see Jared Goff, our Rams guy, find a way to get past them somehow, and it is possible. But I do think the Niners have enough to withstand whatever the Lions throw at them. So gonna be fun matchups. Gonna be tuned into it all. Who you think would benefit most from a win on both sides, Lamar or Mahomes? Then we'll go to Purdy and Goff. But on the AFC side first, who do you think would benefit more from a win, Lamar or Mahomes?
The clear answer is Lamar. It's been funny seeing like the social media, especially on TikTok, the TikToks of like people begging Lamar and the Ravens to win this game. Please, Lamar Jackson. It's been hilarious. Like I didn't realize. I mean, this happens, right? Like with dominant players, like once they have kind of cemented themselves as that. And get a lot of the spotlight and the shine, then the tide turns, and now we hate this guy because he's been on top for a long time now. He's kind of got the LeBron effect.
I don't think it's just that, to be honest with you, because ironically, as he's gotten bigger, I've actually been more of a fan of Mahomes. I really like what he's been doing recently.
You have,
yeah.
but a lot of people have gone the other way.
Everyone else is starting to hate him. And I think it's yes, it's because he's winning, but also the agenda's kind of in place. You have Kelsey and all these media games
Taylor
going
Swift.
on. Taylor Swift showing up and all this stuff.
Yeah, it's some Chiefs hate too. It's some Chiefs hate too. Yeah.
Yeah, and now it's become Chiefs hate. So I definitely I understand it, but on my side, ironically, I've become more of a fan of his and appreciate the greatness that he continued to maintain in his first 6 seasons, which is ridiculous. So to play devil's advocate real quick, I'll just say for him to get to another Super Bowl somehow, again, I would hate to see it at the hands of my Ravens, but if he did, that would further cement him as one of the GOATs of our game. And people already had kind of tried to put him in the discussion after the last Super Bowl. If he got to another one, he surely would stand himself right there. For sure, the Mount Rushmore type, if you want to do some kind of Mount Rushmore, I think he might already have his head up there in discussion. I think he might step into the top dog if he found a way to get to, will that be his 3rd Super Bowl in 6 years? In his first 6 years, I think you're that guy. So, rooting against it, but appreciating what he's put together there because people did not see that coming to the magnitude that he's been doing it so far. So, salute to him. But definitely Lamar is that guy.
Yeah, to your original question though, like Lamar, it definitely would mean more for Lamar and his legacy. I would love for him to do it to shut up the haters and the detractors and the people that said he should move to wide receiver, that he's the greatest, like he's a great running back, like the best running back QB or whatever. That's
cutting you off. My bad. But I'll just say with that, does he have to have a good game to that point? Does he have to have a good game in order to shed that? Or if
he has to. He's got to play well.
Spread out, but they still score and they score just like it's like 17-10, and he has a decent game, but really is a defense. You think they're still going to hate him? Or you think the win is what will get him past it?
No, not just the win. Even just a Super Bowl, and I think he has to be great in those games too. He has to be an MVP. He's gonna win the MVP for this season, but he has to play like an MVP in these games to, I think, garner that respect. But I am rooting for him to do that in that sense. I don't really have a dog in the fight at all for any of these games. I just want to see good games. But for that narrative, the stupid QB narratives, the quarterbacky criticisms for Lamar, I would love to see him overcome that and get some more playoff success and potentially Super Bowl. But it's crazy that how much we talked about and other people talked about the Chiefs and how this was looking like a season where they were going to flame out and all that, and now they're
playoffs and all that.
2 wins away from the Super Bowl. From winning the Super Bowl? So it's Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Kelsey, man.
Yeah, got to at least somewhat respect that. I know a lot of folks are mad, like you just said, but what they were doing is not easy at all. So I salute to them. And I do think that the run stops here, but impressive nonetheless. And to the flip side, I do think it'll mean the world to Lamar for him. I think he's locked in and needs to get it done for his own sake. And then for folks' narratives beyond it, we've seen folks flip-flopping all year long. We've seen folks switching their takes and not being understand how to process what they're watching with the Ravens all season long and his whole tenure there, being able to fully stand, as you pointed out, that he now is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I think is the icing on the cake that is needed to cement him as one of the greats that folks like myself already believe that he is. So, very excited for that. We'll keep our eyes on this game fully tomorrow. If you want to follow me on IG personally, just say G. I'll have some reaction on there, I'm sure. But we'll be tuned in at noon. We'll see how it all plays out.
Cozy boys tomorrow? How are we feeling?
I can't quite stamp that. Again,
I didn't think so. I
respect the Chiefs enough to be locked in all game and not fully be wrapped up in bed by halftime. But I do think the Ravens get the job done at the end there. Okay. So good game. If you want a final projection, we can do it for fun. Okay. I think that's somewhere around the 27-21 type range. But I don't think it's going to be an easy one at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. Probably because I think it's going to be more kind of a defensive struggle. Both teams can lean on their defense. I think somewhere like 24-21, like not super high scoring, but a close one.
Just for beyond the game, if you want to get a little X and O's, any other X factor beyond Lamar and Mahomes you want to point out?
That's a good question. It's hard, like X and O wise with Lamar and the Ravens, because Lamar is just such a dynamic presence back there. Like, people try to say like keep him in the pocket and like, but like he's leaned more into the pass. Like he wants to stay in the pocket more. And then when you make him a runner, he's so dangerous as a runner. I think if they can get something like from the run game beyond him, that would be huge too. I mean, they've kind of been like a triple tandem back there with the backfield. If they can get some success between Justice Hill and Gus Edwards, and I think that would be big for this Ravens team, because the pass defense of the Chiefs is pretty solid. Like I said, the Chiefs, they've been able to lean on their defense in these games because the offense hasn't been as special, even though they have gotten more from Kelsey in recent weeks. But yeah, I think getting something from the run game so that it doesn't have to be just Lamar playing hero ball for them, I think would be big for the Ravens.
Yep. We talked about quarterback matchup, and you see the picture here: Lamar versus Mahomes. That's the whole narrative and all of that. My narrative I'm looking for, I know there's actually a lot about Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith in the middle, but Kyle Hamilton versus Mahomes, I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup to see how that plays out. Kyle Hamilton has emerged as one of the best safeties in the league. Folks are calling him our young Ed Reed type, our new Ed Reed, or however you want to describe baby Ed Reed, how you want to describe it, as he moves around the defense and can play up top and can cover the whole defense from his safety spot, or can press down and blitz the quarterback as well as one of these DNs can when called upon. And we saw versus the Niners, he had a big pick in that game after he got crushed by one of the linemen and bounced back up and made a big play. We saw in the last game, just in the playoffs, that he dropped one that could have been there, but shows that he plays all over the field. And as this Chiefs offense finds its way, and we talked about, they don't have their full arsenal just in regards to this. They have a couple of guys there that can really take off, but there are pieces that can be spotlighted negatively. If he's able to bring the worst out of some of these pieces that they need to turn to, I think that it can make it a very tough day for the Chiefs in this matchup. So defensively, looking at that. Offensively for the Ravens, I think Isaiah Likely is going to be another key figure yet again. I know Mark Andrews is going to be back and activated for this game. Seeing what he's been doing with Mark Andrews out, if he can still make an impact from the middle, as that's going to be important to establish the rest of the pass game. I think those two are the ones to keep your eyes on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if we talked about it last NFL episode too, but another factor would probably be keeping the ball out of Mecole Hardman's hands, because he had two touches, 2 fumbles last week against the Bills. So it was pretty dicey when you were putting the ball in his hands, and it felt like they were getting cute there, because I mean Pacheco was running the ball pretty effectively. So to hand off the ball to Mecole Hardman in the red zone, it was like
it was a reverse too, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was like a jet sweep.
You can't. No time for that right now. No reverses. Hand it straight back.
Keep going with what's working. We talk about how hard Pacheco runs, and he even mentioned this past week how he's seen the memes, people talking about he runs like he bites people and all that kind of stuff. Like that dude runs hard. Let's not get too cute like Pete Carroll got in the Super Bowl. Like run the ball with your best running back in the red zone, man.
Absolutely. So we'll keep eyes on all of that. I was going to say something as well. Oh, just the last thing I'll say too, beyond the individual player, I think also the Ravens have offensively a better understanding of pace in comparison to the Bills, in that they will find ways to slow the game down when they need to, speed the game up when they need to, in ways, and in understanding that at times if games are close, and we saw with the Bills, and that's been their flaw, they can't get Mahomes get the ball last if the game is close. I think the Ravens in their run game will be able to run the clock out as need be if the game comes down to a situation like that. If there's 4 minutes on the clock and they have the ball up by 3 points, I don't think it's going to be a situation where they run the clock down and end up giving Mahomes the ball back with a minute left. I think they can run the clock down all the way to 0 and ice the game. So understanding pace and controlling the pace with the run game and all of that, I think will go a long way as well in this matchup. So very excited for it. Of course, give a full breakdown now for it. We'll share it again on our Twitter page and all of that tomorrow morning as games get underway. But definitely fun thing on that side. To the flip side, going on in NFC, who do you think a win means more for in between Purdy and Jared Goff?
I think a win means more for Jared Goff personally, because I think a win means more for the Lions into that city. And just it's been great for them. I think they'll still be excited even if they lose this game, just with how far they've gone. Yep. It's still a successful season if they don't make it to the Super Bowl. But being able to cap it off and with the win in this game, when you are the underdog on the road against San Francisco, who's been looked at as a juggernaut, I think that'd be huge for Goff. Being able to dispel the narratives of his lesser play on the road and that kind of thing too. I think that would be huge for him as a quarterback. But I was going to say, I think this is going to be a big Brock Purdy game, honestly. I think that passing game can really get it going, especially against that Lions secondary. I think he's going to, if he gets comfortable, like that's when he like gets into a rhythm and gets it going. Yep. As I said, if the Lions can get pressure on him, then it's going to look different. But I think Purdy can have a really big game in this one. I don't think in terms of like the impact of their perception, I think people have pretty much like made up their minds about Brock Purdy just based off of where he was drafted, him having these skill players around him, and people aren't ever really fully going to give him the credit for having a great game because he has so much talent around him. So I think however you feel about Brock Purdy is however you're going to feel about him after this game, regardless of how it goes. So yeah, I think it means a little bit more for Jared Goff.
Yeah, definitely agree with all you said about Jared Goff and the city. I think Detroit would love to the nth degree to have a Super Bowl squad, and this seems like a team that is capable of it. I think they just ran into a full. I don't know how to describe it. There's a full.
They got an arsenal. They got an arsenal for sure.
Arsenal over there in San Francisco, and yeah, I think it would. Yeah, this is going to be a tough matchup for them as well of a team as they are. So, yeah, definitely rooting for them in ways, and we'll love to see it. And more impactful with our question, do agree that it would be Jared Goff in that. But in regards to who I think will win, going to the other side, we kind of broke down the game. I think Purdy will find a way to get the job done. In regards to impact, while the narrative might be cemented, as you talked about, I think just for himself, just becoming, I think he's going to be the first Mr. Irrelevant to lead a team to a quarterback. If you want to put that in quotes, to a Super Bowl or whatever. Yeah. So to have that accomplishment, just coming from where he came from to that point, and yeah, just making this work finally for the Niners squad, who has been knocking on the door and been in the room at times, a couple of times, and fell short. Yeah, I think it'd be great for San Fran to get the job done themselves. So yeah, gonna be fun on both sides. Breakdown wise, again, you said the arsenal that the Niners have is going to be different in comparison to the Lions there.
Yeah, I was going to say two straight NFC Championship runs for Purdy. He's on that Mahomes trajectory with the 6 years. But no, just in terms, I mean, we talked about it on the last episode, but as I mentioned, I think. While Lions have a pretty solid run defense, it's still McCaffrey, so I think he's going to be able to find some holes. But I think the real weak spot is just that secondary for the Lions defense, and I think they'll be able to get exploited by Ayuk. I'm not sure. Do we know if Debo's playing?
He said he's going to play.
He's going to play. Okay.
He's like Gardner Johnson was talking a lot of smack to him and stuff, and he's like, I'm not missing the matchup. Yeah, I don't know, but Debo a little bit, and Debo said, I'm not missing this matchup for nothing. He's gonna show up and he'll be fine.
Even another feather in Brock Purdy's cap, another tool he can use, and that's a dynamic one for sure. But I think Ayuk is gonna have a big game in this one. I think Kittle's gonna have a big game in this one, and I think the Lions on the road going up against a tough San Francisco defense. San Francisco has given up their fair share in the secondary as well too, so they can potentially with Amon-Ra and Reynolds get it going. But I think if the Niners can just get some pressure on Goff, it looks different for him in that pocket. But yeah, it's I can see it being competitive, but as we talked about, I think the 49ers just have a little bit too much for them.
Yeah. I agree with that, and I think they will make sure they get the job done to all the points that you said. Also, again, what impressed me in the last game versus the Packers, while it was a bad game, when it was trying to make a throw, Purdy made a throw and found a way to figure it out, and guys stepped up. You saw Juwan Jennings go and make a big catch and things of that nature. So I think the same way. He may not be perfect and not going to be the the most Mahomes-esque game or whatever, but when it's time to get the job done, he'll finally get the job done, and that's what matters the most for the Niners squad, especially. So, yeah, I think they'll do that. But I will say, I think the Lions would have a formula put together if they can execute it right that could find a way to get the job done for themselves as well. Like I pointed out before, I think we already did a kind of breakdown of this game, but in regards to utilizing the backfield a whole lot, Jahmyr Gibbs, I think, is going to eat a whole lot. I also think Montgomery's going to find a way in the end zone once, so maybe even twice of this game as well. As the Niners have shown the run game, the run defense might not be as strong as their pass game has been at times. So, I think there are ways for that to be utilized. Obviously, they have weapons on the outside that can be used greatly as well with Laporta and all those guys too. And then it's just going to come down to Jared Goff, as you pointed out as well. Just in regards to the same thing I said about Purdy and making plays at the right times and keeping that Lions team rolling. It's possible, but I do lean a little bit more towards the Niners, of course, and want to see the Niners and Ravens match up in the Super Bowl. So, just a very interesting matchup going to be underway. We'll talk about it all as things play out, after all things play out. Just excited for the playoffs coming up, the conference championship games coming up tomorrow. So, great things all on that front, great things with the NBA, great things all across the board. We'll be back on regular schedule on Tuesday, I believe it will be most likely. Maybe Monday, as I know I've mentioned things moving around. So in early on in the week, we'll try to get another episode, a real episode to you guys, and we'll get more into USC and UCLA, both of the men's and women's basketball things going on there. Maybe give you a little Dodgers update. We haven't done that in a little while, and some things. Just get back to our usual schedule and go from there. So good stuff. We want to just do this after the Lakers game and get another episode in for you guys. But that really is it. I will say as we close, the last thing we'll do, just for the sake of it, we'll get one grid in as we do it sometimes.
All right.
We'll call it night. So we'll just do the I Call game. There's a new one out. Or actually, this is a good hoop grid itself. Let's show you this all Lakers stuff.
All Lakers, interesting.
Lakers up top, 10 points a game per season, 40 points regular season on the end. Then it's Kobe teammate, Austin Reeves teammate, and NBA Player of the Week. So we can just do that. That's an interesting one, all Lakers stuff, and call it a night. So we won't put time on the clock. We'll just try to knock this out. I'm looking at guesses. I believe this is a hoop grids, and wherever we want to start, we'll do that and call it a night.
Can I get Slava Medvedenko for Kobe Bryant teammate?
How do you spell that? Slava. There you go.
There we go.
Austin Reeves teammate. We can use like a Max Christie at the end of the bench, right? That should count, shouldn't it?
Oh, it would definitely count.
I'll take that 4%. Great. And that a Laker Player of the Week. That's random as hell.
Hey, you want to go for a target rarity score? This is all Lakers.
So it's all Lakers. We should be able to dig on this one. We can go for like a Nick Van Exel. You think he ever got one back in the day?
Probably.
That should be low. Oh no, he didn't. All right.
Okay.
This isn't guessing. This is hoop grids. All right, we can keep guessing. Yeah. Who else would have a random player? Well, what did Player of the Week even start? That would be recently, wouldn't it? Then.
True.
Kobe era Player of the Week. You think?
Maybe I was gonna say maybe like Odom.
Odom maybe got one. That's a good one. There you go. 2.3%. We'll take that. 10 points per game and a Kobe teammate. That would be. Did Rick Fox ever get 10 points a game? I think he was around there, right?
I don't know, but maybe.
Ricky. Yup, 2.7%. We'll take that.
Hey.
10 points a game and an Austin Reeves teammate who recently has got 10 points a game. Rui might be a good name.
Yeah.
Who was here last year? Low key, would Christian Wood count? I don't know if he on here, but he's got it in general.
You can try Christian Wood.
He's gotten it.
You can try Christian Wood.
3%. Bang bang. Can we stay under 50?
I think so. We're only at 13, more than halfway through.
10 points per game and NBA Player of the Week. How do you even get that? How's that possible?
Season. You just had a good week. Who had I don't know if he had a good week like with the Lakers like that. Oh, but I don't know if he had.
This ain't Lakers. This ain't Lakers. This is anybody.
Oh, true. It could be anybody.
Yeah.
10 point per game.
points a game.
Maybe like a Michael Carter Williams because he was Rookie of the Year.
That's a good grab. Yeah, 0.6. Great grab.
Oh, that was a great one. Man, the fall off was crazy for that man.
A 40-point game and played with Kobe. Guys didn't really score against Kobe. He kind of did the 40 points per game himself. So
yeah, not Smush.
No, Smush.
40 plus. And trying not to think of a big name too.
Right. We had some room though. We're only at 14%.
Yeah.
Our 14.0% score.
Like, what would be a good grab for like a guy that got 40 next to him? Maybe Randall did.
And Julius would be that. D'Lo would be that.
I thought of D'Lo too. Like the guys in his like later years, who are young.
Did B.I. ever get 40?
I don't know if he did as a Kobe teammate.
Lonzo, he'll get 40 when he gets back, but he hasn't got 40 yet.
I don't think Lonzo had. He didn't play with Lonzo either.
Oh, yeah, he did. He was right before that. Didn't Jordan Clarkson have 40 points one time? Like recently?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Does he? It doesn't have to be like while he was playing, right? Yeah, so you could try Clarkson.
So. 4%. We'll take it.
There we go.
All right. 40 point per game and an Austin Reeves teammate. I
feel like D'Lo's obvious.
Yeah, D'Lo's very obvious at this point.
Trying to think like who was here in like that championship season? Maybe
he was here for the ring, wasn't he?
Did Dwight ever get 40? You can try Dwight.
I'm sure Dwight got one. Didn't J.R. Smith get one too?
Dwight wasn't a huge scorer. 40?
J.R.?
I don't know if I remember J.R. getting 40.
I'm sure J.R. got hot one time in his career and
you can try it. You can try
I'm sure he got what?
Nah.
What? He did a 40-point game?
Yeah, I don't
think
so.
That's crazy.
40. See, 40 used to mean something. It's not this era. 40. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I was sure. Oh well. Was he here with Melo?
Yeah, that's an obvious one though.
Is it? Okay.
Carmelo Anthony?
Yeah, but
that's obvious 40.
Remember him as an Austin Reeves teammate though.
Yeah. Who did I say? I said Dwight.
You said Dwight. That's not a bigger name than Melo.
I think Melo. You think of Melo as a scorer more than you think of Dwight. You think of Dwight as like a rebound guy or whatever. But
all right.
Who else was on that team too? Jared Dudley. I'm playing.
I'm getting started. Well, I mean, in comparison to LeBron and AD and guys like that, I think Dwight or Melo would be low.
Yeah,
so either one.
Try Dwight.
Dwight 8%, and then just to see 8.2.
Yeah, they're the same. They're about the same.
Yeah, same thing. All right. We're surely under 50. Can we stay under 35?
Under 30.
Under 30, okay. 40-point game, regular season, and a player of the week.
40-point game.
Jamal Crawford ever got that? Because he had 60. I know he got 40.
He definitely had 40. You could try it. You could try it, Jamal Crawford.
Bang, 1%.
Bang, under 32. Let's go.
Under 30. So there we go. We'll end on that. Great way to end it. A lot of good stuff there. And then again, we'll continue to have fun things like this. We do more of those throughout the week. So chat back in to our Twitch and things later on in the week, and we'll go through more of the I call games at the bottom there. We'll go through our medical grid and all those things as well, and we'll keep things flowing from here. So fun stuff there. Appreciate you for tuning in. A lot of good stuff going on this weekend. We'll be tapping into it all. Make sure you're following us for all reactions, and excited to get into it. And appreciate you for tuning in. Late night stream for y'all. Every once in a while we'll pop in with a late night stream, and that is it. But good stuff in the books. Again, salute to the Lakers for getting the job done tonight. Salute to the Clippers and all of that. And we'll see y'all again real soon, man. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
Deuces.
going straight to bed.